Kanban, the art of flow for software teams. 1. The promise of flow. Why Kanban matters for your software team. Welcome, future architects of efficient software. In today's dynamic digital landscape, building software is far more than just crafting lines of code. It's a continuous journey of understanding evolving demands, delivering concrete value, and relentlessly refining the very process by which we create. Across countless organizations, software developers grapple with ever-growing backlogs, project managers wrestle with unpredictable timelines, and business leaders often find themselves questioning why technological innovation isn't moving at the speed of their ambition. Does this scenario resonate with your experiences? Perhaps your team has explored various approaches, from the structured, phased gates of waterfall development to the more adaptable, iterative sprints characteristic of Scrum. While each methodology undeniably possesses its unique strengths, many teams continue to struggle with common frustrations. An accumulation of unfinished work, unexpected bottlenecks appearing without warning, key features taking an excessive amount of time to reach end users, and a pervasive sense of being overwhelmed by the sheer volume of tasks. These challenges can lead to burnout, missed opportunities, and a constant feeling of running to catch up. This is precisely where Kanban emerges as a powerful solution. Kanban steps in, not as a rigid set of instructions you must blindly follow, but as a guiding philosophy and a practical collection of techniques designed to optimize your software development flow. At its core, Kanban is about visualizing work, intelligently limiting multitasking, and relentlessly pursuing continuous improvement to deliver value more smoothly, predictably, and with superior quality. It offers a path to transform chaos into calm, convert confusion into clarity, and guide endless tasks into a state of meaningful, consistent progress. Imagine a world where your team has absolute clarity on what is being worked on at any given moment. New features flow through the development lifecycle with minimal delays or inefficient handoffs between team members. Potential bottlenecks are not just identified, but proactively addressed before they can bring your entire operation to a grinding halt. Your team feels a reduced sense of stress and a heightened level of focus, consistently delivering tangible value to customers. Predicting when a specific feature will be completed transitions from a mere guess to a well-informed, data-driven estimate. This isn't a utopian vision. It's the tangible promise of implementing Kanban effectively. Crucially, unlike some methodologies that prescribe specific roles, demand fixed time boxes, and enforce strict, predefined ceremonies, Kanban adopts a distinctly evolutionary approach. It begins by respecting your current processes, building upon them, and then helps you identify and implement small, manageable changes that collectively lead to significant, sustainable improvements over time. It's less about a revolutionary overhaul and much more about continuous, gentle, and deliberate refinement. In the chapters that follow, we will embark on a comprehensive journey to understand this powerful methodology. We will delve into its fascinating origins, deep dive into its foundational principles and practical applications, and provide you with actionable, step-by-step guidance to implement and continually optimize Kanban within your own software development team. You don't need a background in manufacturing process optimization or a deep understanding of complex software engineering theories to grasp these concepts. We will explain everything in clear, relatable terms, making it accessible for anyone eager to build superior software and cultivate a more efficient, less stressful, and ultimately more rewarding work environment. Over the course of the coming chapters, you will gain the knowledge and tools to understand the lean roots of Kanban, explore how industrial efficiency principles, particularly from manufacturing, organically evolved into powerful tools applicable to knowledge work. Master the Kanban board. Learn to transform your team's workflow into a dynamic, living, visual map of ongoing progress. Harness the profound power of work in progress, WIP, limits. Discover how, paradoxically, by doing less simultaneously, you can actually deliver more and do so faster. Measure what truly matters for flow. Utilize simple, yet powerful, metrics like lead time, cycle time, and throughput to gain clear insights into your team's performance and improve predictability. Implement effective feedback loops. Understand Kanban's inherent mechanisms for continuous inspection, adaptation, and sustained improvement. Launch and strategically scale Kanban. Receive practical, step-by-step guidance for initiating your Kanban journey and extending its benefits across various teams and even the broader organization. Strategically integrate Kanban with other agile practices. Comprehend how Kanban complements, contrasts with, and can be combined with methodologies such as Scrum and DevOps. Learn from real-world examples and success stories. Gain inspiration and practical insights from diverse teams that have successfully applied Kanban to overcome challenges and achieve remarkable results. Kanban is far more than just a collection of sticky notes on a physical wall or columns in a digital tool. It is a fundamental shift in how we think about work, collaboration, and the perpetual pursuit of improvement. It is about discovering and refining the art of flow within your software delivery process, empowering your team to work smarter, not merely harder, and to do so with greater fulfillment. So, whether you are a direct contributor battling daily distractions, a project manager seeking enhanced predictability, or a leader striving for greater operational excellence and consistent value delivery, prepare to visualize, limit, and optimize your way to a more efficient, predictable, and ultimately more successful software development journey. Let's begin. From Toyota to our teams, the genesis of Kanban. To truly appreciate the power and elegance of Kanban in software development, we must first journey back in time, not to a coding bootcamp or a Silicon Valley startup, but to post-World War II Japan, specifically to the factories of the Toyota Motor Corporation. It might seem like an unusual starting point for a book about software, but the principles born in those automotive plants are the very bedrock upon which modern Kanban stands. Imagine Toyota in the 1950s. They faced immense challenges: scarce resources, a highly competitive global market dominated by American giants, and a need to produce a wide variety of vehicles efficiently. Traditional mass production, characterized by large batches and pushing products through the system regardless of demand, often led to huge inventories, wasted materials, and a lack of flexibility. Taiichi Ohno, an engineer at Toyota, became the architect of a revolutionary production system aimed at eliminating waste and maximizing value. This system eventually became known as the Toyota Production System, TPS, and its ideas diffused around the world, eventually coalescing into what we now know as lean manufacturing. At the heart of TPS were several profound concepts: just-in-time, JIT, the idea of producing only what is needed when it is needed and in the amount needed. This contrasted sharply with the traditional just-in-case approach of stockpiling inventory. JIT reduces waste, improves quality by exposing problems immediately, and increases responsiveness. Jidoka automation, building quality in at every step. This meant systems that could detect defects and automatically stop production, preventing the spread of errors and prompting immediate problem-solving. Continuous flow, striving to move work through the system without delays, interruptions, or backlogs. Every pause or queue represented wasted time and opportunity. Pull system, instead of pushing work through the factory based on a preset schedule, work was pulled by customer demand. When one process completed its task, it signaled the preceding process that it was ready for more input. This directly supported JIT. Kaizen, continuous improvement, a relentless pursuit of perfection through small, iterative improvements driven by everyone, every day. It's about never being satisfied with the status quo and always looking for better ways to do things. And here's where the term Kanban itself enters the picture. In Japanese, Kanban, Chinese letter, literally means signboard or visual card. In Toyota's factories, physical Kanban cards were used to signal demand. When a component was consumed at one stage, a card would be sent back to the previous stage, authorizing the production or delivery of another component. This simple visual cue represented the entire pull system, ensuring that upstream processes only produced what downstream processes were ready to consume. It was a brilliantly effective way to manage demand, avoid overproduction, and maintain a smooth, just-in-time flow. For decades, these lean principles and the Kanban system remained primarily within the manufacturing domain. However, as the 21st century dawned, a critical realization began to emerge. Many of the challenges faced by manufacturing, inventory, waste, bottlenecks, unpredictable delivery, also plagued knowledge work, especially software development. While physical inventory might be different from piles of unfinished code, the underlying problems of too much work in progress, WIP, invisible queues, and unclear priorities were strikingly similar. This is where David J. Anderson enters our story. A seasoned software development professional and thought leader, Anderson began to explore how these proven lean manufacturing principles, particularly Kanban, could be applied to manage and improve the flow of knowledge work. In the mid-2000s, while working at Microsoft and then at Corbis, he experimented with adapting Kanban's visual nature and WIP limits to software teams. His aim was not to create another prescriptive methodology like Scrum or extreme programming, but rather to provide a pragmatic approach for evolutionary change, a way for teams to improve their existing processes incrementally without a disruptive overhaul. Anderson recognized that while software development doesn't produce physical cars, it does produce work items, features, bug fixes, user stories that flow through a series of stages: design, development, testing, deployment. He saw the parallels with Toyota's production lines and realized that applying Kanban's principles could surface hidden bottlenecks, reduce context switching, and accelerate delivery in the digital realm. His adaptation of Kanban for knowledge work became known as the Kanban method. It retained the core concepts of visualization and limiting WIP, but tailored them for the nuances of creative problem-solving and software delivery. It emphasized understanding and improving lead time, prioritizing flow, and fostering a culture of continuous learning and adaptation. So, from the humble signaling cards on a Toyota factory floor, Kanban has evolved into a sophisticated, yet elegantly simple system for managing work in virtually any domain, most powerfully, in the complex world of software development. It carries forward the manufacturing legacy of waste reduction, quality emphasis, and flow optimization, but applies them to the invisible, intricate processes of building software. Understanding this lineage is crucial because it explains why Kanban works. It isn't just a set of arbitrary rules, it's a centuries-old wisdom applied to modern challenges. It's about bringing the predictability and efficiency of a well-oiled machine to the creative, often chaotic, process of innovation. With this historical context in mind, we are now ready to dive into the core principles and practices that define the Kanban method for software teams today. 3. The pillars of flow. Kanban's core principles and practices. Now that we've delved into Kanban's rich history and understood its roots in lean manufacturing, it's time to unpack its modern application for software development. The Kanban method, as formalized by David J. Anderson and his collaborators, is built upon a deceptively simple yet profoundly powerful structure. A set of 6 core practices guided by 6 foundational principles. Think of these as the unshakable pillars that support the entire edifice of flow. Unlike some other agile frameworks, Kanban is non-prescriptive, meaning it doesn't dictate specific roles, time boxes, or meetings. Instead, it offers a flexible framework that helps you improve your existing systems by focusing on how work flows. This evolutionary approach is central to its power. Kanban's 6 core principles. The guiding philosophy. These principles embody the mindset necessary to successfully implement and sustain Kanban. They explain the why behind the practices. Start with what you do now. This is perhaps Kanban's most distinctive principle. You don't need to disrupt your current processes, roles, and responsibilities. Instead, Kanban encourages evolutionary change. Begin by simply visualizing your existing workflow. This reduces resistance to change, as teams don't feel like their established methods are being thrown out. It's about optimizing, not replacing. Example: if your team currently uses Jira with specific workflows and a particular meeting cadence, start there. Don't immediately try to change tools or meeting structures. Just map what you currently do onto a Kanban board. Agree to pursue evolutionary change. Kanban champions continuous, incremental improvements rather than radical, large-scale transformations. Because changes are small and iterative, they are less risky and more sustainable. This fosters a culture where experimentation and learning are encouraged. It's about Kaizen, continuous improvement. Example: instead of demanding a 50% reduction in lead time overnight, aim for a 5% improvement this month, then another 5% next month, by tackling small inefficiencies one by one. Respect current process, roles, and responsibilities. This principle ties directly into the first. Kanban acknowledges the value in what is already working and recognizes the expertise of the people performing the work. It's about building upon existing strengths, not undermining them. This approach promotes buy-in and makes adoption much smoother. Example: if you have dedicated QA engineers, don't abolish that role. Instead, visualize their work on the board and look for ways to improve the flow through their stage, perhaps by involving them earlier in the development cycle. Encourage acts of leadership at all levels. Leadership in Kanban isn't confined to managers or team leads. It's expected from everyone. Anyone who sees an opportunity for improvement or a problem that needs solving is encouraged to act. This fosters a sense of ownership, empowerment, and collective responsibility for optimizing the workflow. Example: a junior developer notices a recurring delay at the code review stage and suggests a new policy for more frequent, smaller reviews. This is an act of leadership. Understand and focus on customer needs and expectations. While originating from manufacturing, this principle is profoundly relevant in software. The ultimate goal of any development effort is to deliver value to the customer. Kanban emphasizes making customer value visible and optimizing the flow of work to meet those needs efficiently and predictably. It's about connecting every piece of work back to its purpose. Example: regularly review customer feedback and feature requests, and ensure that the work items on your board directly address these identified needs, not just internal technical tasks. Manage the work, not the workers. This principle shifts the focus from scrutinizing individual performance to improving the system in which individuals operate. Kanban helps you understand where work gets stuck, not who is too slow. By making the flow of work transparent, it reveals systemic issues, allowing the team to collaboratively address them. It's about building a better system, not assigning blame. Example: if a backlog of ready-for-test items forms, the problem isn't necessarily that testers are slow. It might be due to too much development WIP, insufficient automation, or unclear test criteria. Kanban helps diagnose the system, not judge individuals. Kanban's 6 core practices. The engines of improvement. These are the actionable steps you take to apply Kanban. They are the how-to components. Visualize. This is the most fundamental practice. Make your workflow and work items visible. This typically involves a Kanban board where each column represents a stage in your workflow, e.g., backlog, designing, developing, testing, deploying, done. And cards represent individual work items, features, bugs. Visualization immediately reveals bottlenecks, queues, and the current status of work. It creates a shared understanding. Practical tool: a physical whiteboard with sticky notes, or digital tools like Jira, Trello, Azure DevOps. Limit work in progress, WIP. Perhaps the most crucial practice for improving flow. By setting explicit limits on how many items can be in progress at each stage, or across the entire system, at any given time, you force the team to focus on completing existing work before starting new work. This reduces multitasking, context switching, and the negative impacts of overburdening. It's the mechanism that creates a pull system. Impact: reduces lead time, improves quality, and prevents burnout. If a column has a WIP limit of 3, and 3 cards are already in it, no new work can enter that stage until 1 card moves out. Manage flow. With work visualized and WIP limited, the next step is to actively manage the movement of work through the system. This involves identifying and addressing blockages, reducing delays, and striving for a smooth, continuous flow of value. It's about optimizing the system's ability to deliver, using metrics to guide improvements. Tools: analyzing lead time, time from concept to delivery, and cycle time, time from start of work to delivery, are key here, along with cumulative flow diagrams. Make policies explicit. Once work is visualized and WIP is limited, define clear, transparent rules about how work moves through the system. These policies can include things like definition of done for each stage, criteria for moving cards from one column to the next, priority rules, or how to handle blocked items. Explicit policies ensure consistent behavior, reduce miscommunication, and support self-organization. Example: a policy for developing might be, card can only move to testing if all unit tests pass and code has been reviewed by a peer. Implement feedback loops. Kanban relies heavily on regular inspection and adaptation. This involves creating mechanisms to review progress, analyze metrics, discuss issues, and identify opportunities for improvement. While not prescribing specific meetings, Kanban suggests several cadences, meetings to facilitate these feedback loops. Key cadences: the daily Kanban meeting, stand-up, replenishment meetings to pull new work, and service delivery review meetings to analyze performance. Improve collaboratively, evolve experimentally. This captures the essence of continuous improvement and the evolutionary nature of Kanban. Teams should regularly analyze their performance using data, metrics, discuss challenges, propose changes, and run small experiments to test hypotheses about how to improve. The changes should be collaborative, drawing on the collective intelligence of the team. Example: the team notices erratic cycle times. They hypothesize that frequent interruptions are a cause and decide to experiment with dedicated focus hours each day, reviewing the impact on cycle time after a week. These 6 principles and 6 practices form the bedrock of the Kanban method. They are interconnected and mutually reinforcing. By starting with what you do now, visualizing that work, limiting how much you do at once, explicitly defining your rules, regularly reviewing your performance, and continually seeking small, collaborative improvements, your software team can achieve remarkable gains in predictability, efficiency, and overall flow. In the following chapters, we will dive deeper into each of these practices, starting with the most visible one, the Kanban board. 4. Visualize your work, mastering the Kanban board. In the previous chapter, we established that visualize is not just the first practice of Kanban, but perhaps its most fundamental. Without a clear, shared understanding of work, it's impossible to identify bottlenecks, manage flow, or truly improve. The Kanban board is the central artifact that makes this visualization possible. It transforms the abstract concept of work in progress into a tangible, observable reality. Think of the Kanban board as the beating heart of your team's workflow. It's where every piece of work lives, moves, and ultimately finds its completion. This section will guide you through understanding the components of a Kanban board, designing your first one, and leveraging both physical and digital options. The anatomy of a Kanban board. While Kanban boards can vary greatly in complexity, their core components remain consistent. Columns, stages. These represent the distinct stages of your workflow. Each column marks a specific step that a work item must go through from initiation to completion. Examples for a software team: backlog ready, work items that are prioritized and waiting to be started. Analysis design, work items where requirements are being detailed or solutions designed. Development coding, work items currently being coded by a developer. Code review, work items awaiting peer review. Testing QA, work items being tested for bugs and quality. Deployment staging, work items ready to be pushed to a staging or production environment. Done deployed, work items that are fully completed and delivered to the customer or production. Key consideration: the columns should accurately reflect how your team actually works, not how you think it should work initially. Remember Principle 1. Start with what you do now. Cards, work items. Each card on the board represents a single unit of work. This could be a user story, a bug, a feature, a task, or any other discrete piece of value your team is delivering. Information on a card. A good card typically includes a clear title or summary of the work, an identifier, e.g., ticket number, who is responsible for it if applicable, a high-level description or link to more details, perhaps a due date or priority indicator. Simplicity is key. Avoid cluttering cards with too much information. They should be quick to grasp at a glance. WIP limits, work in progress limits. These are numerical constraints placed on one or more columns, or stages, to restrict the number of work items that can be in progress simultaneously in that stage. We'll delve deeper into WIP limits in the next chapter, but visually, they are often displayed at the top of each column. Example: a development column might have a WIP limit of 3, meaning only 3 cards can be in that column at any given time. Swim lanes optional but useful. These are horizontal lanes that cut across the columns, allowing you to categorize work items based on certain criteria. Common uses: expedited urgent, for critical bugs or high-priority items that need immediate attention and might bypass regular WIP limits. Classes of service, to differentiate how different types of work are handled, e.g., standard, fixed date, intangible, expedited. Teams, individuals, if one board serves multiple smaller subteams or individuals. Product lines, initiatives, to group related work for a larger project. Caution: too many swim lanes can make the board complex and harder to read. Use them judiciously. Designing your first board, mapping your value stream. The most effective Kanban boards are those that accurately reflect the flow of value in your specific context. Here's a step-by-step approach to designing your initial board. Understand your current workflow. Gather your team and discuss your existing process, from the moment an idea is conceived or a bug is reported to when it's fully delivered to the customer. Ask questions like, what are the major steps a piece of work goes through? Who performs what action at each step? Where does work often pile up or get handed off? What determines when work moves from one step to the next? Tip: drawing it out on a whiteboard first can be very helpful. Define your columns. Based on your understanding of the workflow, identify the logical stages. Aim for enough detail to show flow, but not so much that it becomes overwhelming. Remember, you can refine these later. Example: instead of just development, you might have dev ready, in progress, dev complete. Define your work items, cards. What are the discrete units of work your team processes? Are they user stories, tasks, features, bugs? How granular do they need to be? Rule of thumb: cards should represent items that deliver value and can be moved across the board independently. Establish definition of done for each column, explicit policies. For each column, define clearly what needs to happen for a card to move to the next stage. This ensures consistency and prevents work from being thrown over the wall. Example: for development to code review, code written, unit tests passed, local build successful. For testing to done, all acceptance criteria met, no critical defects, signed off by product owner. Identify potential swim lanes. Do you have different types of work that need separate handling, e.g., urgent bugs versus new features, or distinct logical groupings of work? Create your board. Whether physical or digital, set up your columns and start adding cards. Begin with the work currently in progress to see how it fits. Physical versus digital boards. Both physical and digital Kanban boards have their advantages. Physical boards: pros, high visibility, low barrier to entry, easy for everyone in the same physical space to see and interact with. Great for co-located teams. Tangible interaction. Moving sticky notes or cards creates a satisfying tactile experience and fosters hands-on collaboration. Promotes communication, often leads to more spontaneous conversations around the board. Low cost. Whiteboard, markers, sticky notes, that's often all you need. Cons: limited for remote teams, difficult to manage and use effectively if team members are geographically dispersed. No history metrics. Doesn't automatically track metrics like lead time or throughput. Requires manual data collection. Maintenance: can get messy, cards can fall off and require someone to keep it tidy. Digital boards. Pros: remote team friendly. Accessible from anywhere with an internet connection. Essential for distributed teams. Automated metrics and reporting. Most digital tools automatically track lead time, cycle time, throughput, and generate useful charts, like cumulative flow diagrams. Integration: can integrate with other development tools, e.g., version control, CI/CD pipelines. Searchability and history: easy to search for past work items and review historical data. Scalability: can manage very large backlogs and multiple connected boards more easily. Cons: tool dependent, requires learning and configuring a specific software tool. Less physical interaction can feel less engaging for some teams. Risk of complexity. Overly complex tools can add overhead if not configured simply. Popular digital tools: Jira, Trello, Azure DevOps, Asana, Monday.com, Kanban Flow, among many others. Many teams find a hybrid approach effective, using a physical board for daily stand-ups and brainstorming, while keeping a digital board for tracking metrics and remote team members. Advanced visualization techniques. Once your basic board is functional, you can enhance its visual power. Colors. Use different colored cards or sticky notes to represent. Types of work, e.g., red for bugs, yellow for features, blue for technical debt. Classes of service, e.g., green for standard, red for expedited. Impacted systems or teams. Icons, stickers. Small symbols can quickly convey status, e.g., a bug icon, a blocked icon. Card design. Beyond the basic title, consider including avatars of assignees, small progress bars or percentages, parent-child relationships, e.g., a larger epic card with smaller story cards nested under it. Aging. Some digital tools visually indicate how long a card has been in a column, drawing attention to aging work items. A well-designed Kanban board is more than just a task list. It's a living snapshot of your team's current commitments, flow, and potential bottlenecks. It fosters transparency, promotes self-organization, and provides a shared language for discussing work. By visualizing your work, you take the crucial first step toward understanding and ultimately improving your team's delivery rhythm. In the next chapter, we'll explore the second, and arguably most important, practice that turns visualization into true flow management: limiting work in progress. 5. The power of limits, controlling work in progress, WIP. We've established the fundamental importance of visualization with the Kanban board. But a beautifully laid out board is only half the story. The true magic of Kanban, what transforms a visual cue into a dynamic flow system, lies in its second core practice: limiting work in progress, WIP. Imagine our brain as a computer processor. When you try to run too many applications simultaneously, what happens? Everything slows down. Programs crash, the system lags, and productivity plummets. Your personal experience confirms this. Multitasking is a myth. It's rapid context switching, and it's notoriously inefficient. The same applies to teams in software development. When a team has too many features, bugs, or tasks in progress, at the same time, the result is slowdown, hidden bottlenecks, and frustrating delays. Why limiting WIP is transformative. Limiting WIP is not about limiting the team's capacity. It's about optimizing their delivery capacity. It forces focus, reduces context switching, and makes problems visible. Here's why it's so powerful. Reduces context switching. Every time a developer switches from working on feature A to checking bug B, then reviewing code C, significant time is lost due to context switching. This mental overhead is expensive. WIP limits ensure team members can focus on completing one or a few items before moving on. Improves flow and throughput. By focusing on finishing work rather than starting new work, items move through the system faster and more predictably. Think of it like lanes on a highway. Too many cars trying to enter at once creates a jam. Limiting the number of cars allows for smoother traffic flow. Highlights bottlenecks. When a WIP limit is hit in a particular column, it immediately signals that there's a blockage. It forces the team to swarm on that problem area, rather than blindly continuing to pull new work into an already congested system. Because the problem is visible, it can be addressed. Improves quality. Less multitasking means more focus on the task at hand. The less fragmented a developer's attention, the higher the quality of the code, and the fewer defects are introduced. Reduces waste inventory. Unfinished work is inventory. In software, this means partially coded features, untested bug fixes, or designed but unimplemented solutions. This inventory doesn't deliver value until it's done. WIP limits actively reduce this waste, aligning with lean principles. Increases predictability. With a smoothly flowing system, the time it takes for a work item to go from start to finish becomes more consistent, leading to better forecasting and more reliable delivery dates. Little's Law, the science behind WIP. While WIP limits might seem intuitive, Their effectiveness is underpinned by a fundamental principle of queuing theory known as Little's Law. Formulated by John Deasy. Little it states, lead time equals work in progress, WIP, throughput. Let's break down these terms. Lead time, the total time a work item spends in your system, from the moment it enters until it is fully completed and delivered. Work in progress, WIP, the average number of items currently in your system at any given time. Throughput, the average rate at which work items are completed and leave your system, e.g., items delivered per week. The implications of Little's Law for us are profound. If you want to reduce lead time, i.e., deliver faster, and assuming your throughput remains relatively stable, you must reduce your work in progress. Think about it. If you have 10 items in progress and you deliver 2 items per day your throughput, your average lead time will be 5 days. If you reduce WIP to 5 items and maintain the same throughput, your lead time drops to 2.5 days. The less actively worked on, the faster things get done. How to set and adjust WIP limits. Setting WIP limits isn't an exact science from day one. It's an art that evolves through experimentation. Here's a pragmatic approach. Start with your current reality. As per Kanban's first principle, don't try to dictate an ideal limit initially. Instead, visualize your current workflow, measure how much work is already in progress in each column, and set your initial WIP limits equal to that number or slightly lower, but still realistic. Example, if your development column currently has 5 features being worked on, set the initial WIP limit at 5. Observe and learn. Run with these initial limits for a while. Observe what happens. Do certain columns consistently hit their WIP limit? Do work items appear to be blocked frequently? Is flow improving? Experiment and adjust. Based on your observations and team discussions, gradually reduce WIP limits. General guideline. A common starting point for a team might be N1 for the active columns, where N is the number of people capable of working on that stage, or even N2 to encourage pair work or swarming. For example, if you have 3 developers, a WIP limit of 3 for development might be good. Team consensus. WIP limits are best set by the team, not imposed. The team directly experiences the benefits and challenges of the limits. Focus on bottlenecks. Pay special attention to the stages that are consistently getting full. This is where the bottleneck is. Reducing WIP before the bottleneck can help clear it. Embrace the shock of hitting a limit. When a WIP limit is hit, it's not a failure, it's a success. It's the visual system working perfectly, signaling that the system is overloaded. This is the moment to stop pulling new work. Don't start new work if no capacity is available in a column. Swarm and collaborate. The team should shift focus to helping clear the blocked work within that column or upstream, downstream to unblock it. This could mean pairing, code reviews, unblocking dependencies, or assisting with testing. Identify the root cause. Ask, why did we hit this limit? Is it a capacity issue, a dependency, a policy problem? Dealing with blocked items and dependencies. In real-world software development, work items inevitably get blocked. A card might be waiting for a decision from a product owner, a third-party API to be stable, another team to complete a dependency, a server environment to be created. When a card is blocked, it stops contributing to value delivery, yet it still consumes a WIP slot. This is undesirable. Making blockages visual. Always visually mark blocked items on your Kanban board, e.g., a red sticker, special icon, or a blocked flag in digital tools. This draws immediate attention. Use a separate blocked column or swim lane if blocks are frequent. This allows you to track and manage them separately without consuming WIP limits in active columns. Addressing blockages, don't ignore them. Blockages are critical signals. Prioritize unblocking. Team members should proactively work to clear blocks. Communicate. Clearly communicate the blockages and their impact to relevant stakeholders, product owners, other teams. Track. Monitor the duration of blockages to identify recurring issues or systemic problems. The pull system in action. Limiting WIP transforms a push system into a pull system. Push system. Work is pushed from one stage to the next as soon as it's completed, regardless of whether the next stage is ready. This often leads to large queues and overburdening downstream stages. Pull system. Work is only pulled into a stage when there is capacity available and the previous stage is ready to hand it over. This ensures smoother flow and prevents overburdening. WIP limits are the mechanism that enforces this pull. When a team member completes a task, they don't immediately jump to the next item on the generic backlog. Instead, they look to the immediately preceding column on the board or the current column if it's blocked. If there's capacity in their current column, they pull in the next highest priority item from the previous column. If their current column is full, they help clear a block or assist a teammate to create capacity. This constant pulling ensures work flows at the pace the system can handle, without building up unnecessary inventory. Mastering WIP limits is the cornerstone of achieving predictability and efficiency with Kanban. It requires discipline and a shift in mindset from being busy to getting things done. It's about optimizing the system, not just individual actions. By understanding and actively managing your work in progress, you unlock the true power of flow. Building on this, in the next chapter, we'll explore how to measure and interpret the key flow metrics that help you continuously improve your Kanban system. 6. Measuring what matters. Flow metrics for performance. Imagine driving a car without a speedometer, fuel gauge, or warning lights. You might reach your destination, but you'd be constantly guessing about your speed, how much fuel you had, or if your engine was about to seize. In software development, working without flow metrics is just as precarious. While the Kanban board gives you visual cues, flow metrics provide the objective data needed to truly understand your system's performance, make informed decisions, and predict future outcomes. Unlike traditional project management metrics that often focus on resource utilization or adherence to fixed deadlines, Kanban flow metrics are geared towards measuring the flow of value. They answer critical questions like, how fast are we delivering? How much work are we completing? And how predictable are we? Let's dive into the most essential Kanban flow metrics and how you can use them. Core Kanban metrics. Lead time and cycle time. These are the two most crucial metrics in Kanban, often used interchangeably, but with a subtle yet important distinction. Lead time. This is the total time a work item spends in your system, from its initial request, when the customer stakeholder asks for it, until it is fully completed and delivered, e.g., in production and available to users. It's the end-to-end customer-centric view. Why it matters. It directly answers the question, how long does it take for us to get something done? Cycle time. This is the time a work item spends actively being worked on within your defined workflow. From the moment it enters the first, in progress column on your Kanban board until it reaches a done state. It focuses on the internal efficiency of your team's process. Why it matters. It helps you understand and improve the efficiency of your internal development process. The relationship. Lead time will always be greater than or equal to cycle time because it includes the time spent waiting in queues before work actively begins. Optimizing cycle time is a direct way to reduce lead time. How to calculate. While digital Kanban tools typically calculate this automatically, manually, you would start by marking the timestamp when an item enters the in-progress state for cycle time or the requested state for lead time, and then when it hits done. The difference is your time. Using them, forecasting. If your team's average cycle time for a specific type of user story is 5 days, you can make more educated predictions about future delivery dates. Identifying bottlenecks. A significant spike in cycle time for specific items often indicates a bottleneck in a particular stage of your workflow. Improvement focus. Track cycle time trends over time. If it's improving, your process changes are working. Throughput. Throughput measures the rate at which your team completes work items. It's the quantitative output of your system. Definition. The number of work items completed and delivered over a specific period, e.g., number of features shipped per week, bugs fixed per day. Why it matters. It measures your team's actual delivery capacity and provides a reliable indicator of how much work can be accomplished. How to calculate. Simply count the number of items that moved into the done column within a defined timeframe, e.g., a week, a month. Using it, capacity planning. Understand what your team is realistically capable of delivering over time. Predictability. Stable throughput indicates a more predictable system. Fluctuations can signal instability. System health. Increasing throughput, without sacrificing quality, is generally a positive indicator. Work item age or aging work in progress. This metric tracks how long an individual work item has been in progress, or in a particular column, without being completed. Definition: the duration in days or hours that a work item has been in a working state since it was pulled. Why it matters: it's an early warning system for potential problems. An aging work item is at higher risk of getting stuck, forgotten, or indicating a blockage. How to use it: visually display the age on the Kanban card or have digital tools highlight aging items. Teams can set internal age limits that, when exceeded, trigger a discussion about why the item is taking so long. This promotes proactive management of flow. Blocked time. This metric specifically measures the amount of time a work item has been in a blocked state, unable to progress due to external or internal dependencies. Definition: the cumulative time in days or hours that a work item has been formally marked as blocked. Why it matters: reveals systemic obstacles and areas where external dependencies or internal issues are slowing down your flow. High blocked time points to areas needing attention beyond the development team. How to use it: track this for each blocked item. Aggregate data to identify recurring blockages and their root causes, e.g., we're always blocked by environment setup, or product decisions take too long. Visualizing metrics, the cumulative flow diagram, CFD. While individual numbers are useful, a cumulative flow diagram, CFD, is arguably the most powerful visualization tool for Kanban metrics. It's a graph that shows the total amount of work in each state of your workflow over time. How to read a CFD: x-axis, time, days, weeks; y-axis, number of work items. Colored bands. Each band represents a stage in your workflow, e.g., backlog, in progress, done. The top line represents the total work requested, the bottom line represents the total work delivered. The done band, bottom. Its slope indicates your throughput. A steeper slope means higher throughput. The width of bands, the vertical distance between the top and bottom of a band, shows the amount of work in progress, WIP, in that stage. A widening band indicates increasing WIP. The horizontal distance between bands. The horizontal distance from the point an item enters one stage to when it exits to the next represents the cycle time for that stage. The horizontal distance from the top line to the bottom line, total work requested to total work done, represents your average lead time. What a CFD tells you at a glance. System stability. Parallel, generally smooth lines indicate a predictable system. Jagged or diverging lines suggest instability. Bottlenecks. A widening band in a middle stage indicates a bottleneck, as work is entering faster than it's leaving that stage. The width of that band is your WIP. Lead time and throughput. You can visually approximate average lead times and throughput from the top and bottom lines of the graph. Forecasting. By extending the done line's current slope, you can make informed predictions about when the remaining work is likely to be completed. Scatterplot diagrams, predicting delivery times. Another useful visualization is the cycle time scatterplot. This diagram plots each completed work item as a dot, with its completion date on the x-axis and its cycle time on the y-axis. What it shows: the distribution of your cycle times, whether your cycle time is consistent or highly variable. Predicting delivery. By drawing percentile lines, e.g., 50th percentile, 85th percentile, 95th percentile, you can answer questions like, with 85% confidence, this item will be completed within X days. This is incredibly powerful for setting realistic expectations with stakeholders. Using metrics for continuous improvement. Kanban metrics are not for performance reviews or blame. They are tools for continuous improvement. Transparency. Make these metrics visible to the entire team and relevant stakeholders. Regular review. Use these metrics in your feedback loops, e.g., service delivery review meetings, to discuss what they reveal about your process. Identify opportunities. Look for trends, anomalies, and areas for improvement. Example: if your cycle time is consistently high across the board, perhaps you need to reduce WIP further. If only one stage has a high WIP and widening CFD band, that's your bottleneck. Experiment and measure impact. When you implement a process change, e.g., reducing WIP limits, clearer policies, automating a task, use these metrics to objectively assess if the change had the desired effect. By treating your workflow as a system and continuously measuring its performance, you transform assumptions into data, allowing your team to navigate its development journey with greater clarity, predictability, and control. These metrics are the dashboard of your art of flow. Having established how to measure our flow, the next chapter will discuss the essential feedback loops that help us act on these insights and sustain continuous improvement. 7. Continuous improvement. Implementing feedback loops. You've visualized your work, limited your work in progress WIP, and started measuring your flow with powerful metrics. Now what? The final, crucial ingredient for a thriving Kanban system is the consistent and effective use of feedback loops. Without them, even the most perfectly set up board will eventually stagnate. Feedback loops are the systemic mechanisms that allow your team to inspect its process, adapt to changing circumstances, and continuously evolve towards higher performance. Unlike some methodologies that prescribe specific, time-boxed ceremonies, Kanban offers a more flexible approach to feedback loops, defining them as cadences, recurring meetings, or activities with a clear purpose. These cadences are designed to facilitate communication, collaboration, and learning at different levels of the organization and at varying frequencies. They ensure that your team is always looking at the work, improving the how, and responding to the what. Let's explore the key Kanban cadences. The 7 Kanban cadences. These cadences provide systematic opportunities for reflection, planning, and adjustment, ensuring your system remains agile and responsive. Kanban meeting, daily stand-up. Purpose: to synchronize the team, identify any blockers, and ensure the smooth flow of work for the next 24 hours. The focus is on the flow of the work rather than individual tasks. Frequency: daily, typically first thing in the morning. How it works: team members stand in front of the Kanban board and walk through the work items from right to left, from done towards ready. For each item, they ask, "Is this item about to get done? Is anything impeding its progress? Can I help to get this item done?" Only after discussing the work does the team address individual capacity or next steps. Key difference from Scrum's daily Scrum. The Kanban meeting focuses on work items moving from right to left, pulling items to completion, whereas Scrum's daily Scrum often focuses on individuals presenting their progress. What I did yesterday, what I'll do today. Replenishment meeting. Purpose: to review and prioritize the ready queue, the backlog of features work items, and pull new items onto the board for the team to consider working on next. This ensures there's always a prioritized queue of work ready to be pulled, while respecting WIP limits. Frequency: regular, pre-scheduled intervals, e.g., once or twice a week, or on demand when the ready queue is getting low and team capacity is opening up. How it works: product owners, team leads, and possibly key developers meet to discuss upcoming work, dependencies, and business value. They ensure the items entering the ready column are well understood, appropriately sized, and prioritized. Service delivery review. Purpose: to review the team's performance with key stakeholders, focusing on how well the service, i.e., software delivery, is meeting customer expectations. This uses the flow metrics we discussed in Chapter 6, lead time, cycle time, throughput. Frequency: bi-weekly or monthly. How it works: the team presents its performance data, CFDs, scatterplots, average cycle times to stakeholders. Discussions revolve around predictability, blockages, quality, and stakeholder satisfaction. It's an opportunity to manage expectations and gather feedback on the overall delivery process. Operations review. Purpose: to discuss how interconnected Kanban systems across multiple teams or departments are functioning. This is a higher-level review, ensuring alignment and identifying systemic impediments to flow across the value stream. Frequency: monthly. How it works: managers, team leads from different departments, and other leaders participate. They look at aggregated metrics and discuss cross-team dependencies, shared services, and organizational policies that might be hindering efficiency. Risk review. Purpose: to identify, discuss, and mitigate risks that could impact the capability to deliver value. This includes technical risks, market risks, organizational risks, and operational risks. Frequency: monthly or quarterly. How it works: a broader group, potentially including architects, security specialists, and senior management, reviews the current risk landscape. They develop strategies to mitigate identified risks, assign ownership for risk management, and track progress. Strategy review. Purpose: to align the entire organization's strategic goals with the ongoing operations. This is the highest level cadence, ensuring that the work flowing through the Kanban systems is still relevant to the company's evolving strategic direction. Frequency: annually or biannually. How it works: executive leadership and senior managers review the overall strategy. They consider market changes, new opportunities, and how the current service delivery capabilities can help achieve strategic objectives. This might lead to significant shifts in what kind of work is prioritized in the replenishment meetings. Daily stand-up, already covered, but often listed as part of the Core 7. How feedback loops drive evolutionary change. These cadences aren't just meetings. They are the structured opportunities for the improve collaboratively, evolve experimentally, practice to manifest. Transparency: they make performance, problems, and plans visible to everyone involved. Data-driven decisions. The service delivery review and operations review, in particular, emphasize using objective metrics to guide discussions rather than subjective opinions. Problem solving. The Kanban meeting surfaces immediate blockers. Other reviews reveal systemic impediments. Adaptation. Each cadence provides a clear opportunity for teams to discuss what's working, what's not, and what small experiments they can run to improve. Culture of continuous learning. By regularly inspecting and adapting, teams build a habit of continuous learning and improvement. This aligns perfectly with the agree to pursue evolutionary change and encourage acts of leadership at all levels principles. Key considerations for effective feedback loops. Purpose before form. Understand the purpose of each cadence before implementing it. Don't just do a meeting because Kanban says so. Time-boxed. Keep meetings concise and focused to respect everyone's time. Right people, right meeting. Ensure the appropriate individuals are present for each cadence to make effective decisions. Action-oriented. Meetings should conclude with clear action items and assigned ownership, not just discussions. Continuous learning environment. Foster a psychological safe space where team members feel comfortable raising issues, suggesting experiments, and admitting when something isn't working. Start small. You don't need to implement all 7 cadences at once. Begin with the daily Kanban meeting and the replenishment meeting, then layer on others as needed. Consider the example of a team struggling with consistent delivery times. Through their service delivery review, they observe that their cycle time on user stories is highly variable, and their cumulative flow diagram shows a widening testing column. In their Kanban meeting, they frequently see items stuck in testing. This data prompts them to review their policies for moving items into testing. Perhaps they're too loose, allowing half-baked code through. They might also consider a WIP limit, specifically for the testing column, or initiate a replenishment meeting to discuss if too much work is being pulled into development prematurely. This iterative process, fueled by data and discussion within these feedback loops, leads to targeted evolutionary improvements. These feedback loops are the heart of Kanban's continuous improvement engine. They transform raw data into actionable insights, helping your team not just to do the work, but to continuously optimize how the work is done, ensuring a steady, predictable, and ever-improving flow of value. In the next chapter, we'll shift gears from theory to practice, providing a step-by-step guide on how to launch Kanban with your own team. 8. Getting started. Launching Kanban on your team. You've absorbed Kanban's principles, understood its practices, and learned how to measure its flow. Now comes the exciting part, putting it all into action. Launching Kanban on your team doesn't require a big bang, a 6-month transformation program, or a hefty budget. True to its evolutionary nature, Kanban encourages a gentle, gradual adoption. This chapter provides a practical, step-by-step guide to initiating Kanban, addressing common starting points, and navigating the initial challenges. Remember, the goal isn't immediate perfection, but rather the creation of a system that continuously improves. Identifying common starting points. Kanban is incredibly adaptable and can be introduced into various contexts. Here are a few common scenarios where teams begin their Kanban journey. We have too much work and don't know what's going on. Symptom, overwhelm, constant context switching, missed deadlines, managers asking for status updates daily. Kanban's solution, visualization immediately brings clarity. Limiting WIP forces focus and reduces stress. Our delivery times are unpredictable. Symptom, inability to forecast, frequent last-minute rushes, surprises for stakeholders. Kanban's solution, measuring lead time and cycle time, combined with WIP limits, dramatically improves predictability. We want to improve our process, but don't want to disrupt our current way of working too much. Symptom, resistance to change, fear of agile imposition, already adopted a different methodology with mixed results. Kanban's solution, start with what you do now and agree to pursue evolutionary change, are core principles that minimize disruption. Regardless of your starting point, the process for launching is broadly similar. A practical, step-by-step guide to adopting Kanban. Step 1, secure buy-in and don't force it. While Kanban can be adopted bottom-up, having support from team leadership, even if it's just permission to experiment, is incredibly helpful. Explain the why. Focus on the benefits for this specific team and their problems. Frame it as an experiment to improve transparency, reduce overwhelm, or deliver faster. Highlight the evolutionary nature. Emphasize that it's not a radical overhaul but a gradual improvement. Voluntary adoption. Ideally, the team should volunteer to try Kanban. Forced adoption often leads to superficial implementation and resistance. Step 2. Facilitate the initial workflow mapping session. Gather your entire team in a room or a virtual meeting with a shared whiteboarding tool. This is where you create your first Kanban board. Materials. Large whiteboard or wall space, sticky notes of different colors, markers, or a digital equivalent like Miro, Mural, or your chosen Kanban tool. Goal, to visualize your current workflow. Define the done point. What does done truly mean for your team? When is a piece of work truly completed and delivering value from your customer's perspective? This sets the boundary of your system. Identify workflow states, columns. Starting from done and working backward to ready to start, identify all the distinct stages a work item goes through. Pro tip, don't try to make it perfect. Focus on what actually happens. You can refine this later. Consider, is there queue time waiting versus active work? E.g., ready for test versus testing. Define work items, cards. What are the typical items that flow through your system? User stories, bug fixes, features, tasks. Write a few examples on sticky notes. Map current work. Have the team put all their currently in progress work items onto the board in the column where they genuinely reside right now. This immediately reveals your current WIP. Assign initial WIP limits. For each in progress column, count the number of items. Set the initial WIP limit to that number or slightly lower, depending on how overburdened your team feels. Remember, these are experimental and you'll adjust them. Define definition of done, do per column, explicit policies. Briefly discuss what criteria must be met for a work item to move from one column to the next. Write these policies near the relevant columns or on a separate policy sign. Step 3. Start your daily Kanban meeting. Once the board is up, begin conducting your daily Kanban meeting. This is typically short, 10 to 15 minutes, and focused on the flow of work. Right to left, move from the rightmost column, closest to done, towards the left. Ask what's next for this item. For each item in progress, team members discuss what needs to happen to move it forward and if anyone is blocked or needs help. Identify blockers. If an item is blocked, mark it clearly on the board, e.g., a red sticky note, a specific icon. Discuss how to unblock it. Don't assign new work. The meeting isn't for assigning new tasks, it's about progressing existing work. New work is pulled from the ready column as capacity opens up. Step 4. Prepare for your first replenishment meeting. Even if you have a vast backlog, you'll need a mechanism to pull work into your ready column. Frequency. Decide on an initial cadence, e.g., once a week. Participants. Product owner, team lead, and team members who will work on the items. Goal. Discuss upcoming work, ensure it's understood, and pull the next few high-priority, ready-to-start items into your ready column, respecting its WIP limit. Step 5. Start tracking flow metrics immediately. Even before you're perfectly optimized, begin collecting data. Most digital Kanban tools track these automatically. Lead time, cycle time. Start measuring the duration from start to done. Throughput. Count completed items over time. WIP. The board visually shows this, but digital tools help track averages. Focus on trends. Don't obsess over individual numbers. Look at trends over time. Step 6. Hold your first service delivery review/retrospective. After a few weeks, e.g., 2 to 4 weeks, schedule a session to review how things are going. Review metrics. Look at your cycle time, throughput, and CFD. Are they showing improvement? Where are the bottlenecks? Process discussion. What's working well? What challenges are you facing? Is the WIP limit effective? Are the policies clear? Identify small experiments. Kaizen. Based on the discussion, identify 1 or 2 small, actionable changes the team wants to try to improve their flow. Example. Let's try reducing our development WIP limit by 1 next week. Or, we need a clearer definition for when a card can move to testing. Common challenges during adoption. Launching Kanban is rarely without its bumps. Here are some common challenges and how to address them. We're hitting our WIP limit. What do we do? Solution. Celebrate. This means the system is working. It forces the team to focus on completing existing work and swarm on blockages. It also highlights the underlying problem, often too much work being started. Resistance to limiting WIP. Symptom. Team members feel they aren't busy enough or managers worry about productivity. Solution. Reiterate Little's law. Explain that it's about effective flow, not just being busy. Show how context switching hurts. Emphasize that done before new is the goal. Use metrics to prove the efficiency gain. Difficulty defining workflow states. Symptom. Too many columns or columns that don't accurately reflect reality. Solution. Simplify. Go back to basics. Do you have a clear done point? What really happens from ready to done? It's an iterative process, so don't fear adapting your columns. Tools over principle. Symptom. Focusing too much on the digital tools features rather than the underlying Kanban principles. Solution. Remind the team that the tool is just a means to an end. The principles of visualization, WIP limits, and flow are what matter. A physical board is often a great way to start to avoid tool complexity initially. Kanban is too simple, doesn't have feature X of another framework. Symptom. Looking for the prescriptive nature of other methodologies. Solution. Reiterate that Kanban is a method for evolutionary change, not a predefined process. Its strength is its flexibility and ability to adapt to your context. Explain that missing feature X can often be built in as an explicit policy or new cadence. By starting small, focusing on incremental improvements, and embracing the Kanban principles, your team can naturally evolve towards a more predictable, efficient, and enjoyable way of delivering software. The journey begins with that first visualization, and the continuous improvement never truly ends. In the next chapter, we'll explore how these principles extend beyond a single team, allowing Kanban to scale effectively across larger organizations. 9. Scaling Kanban, beyond the single team and up the organization. We've explored how Kanban empowers a single software development team to achieve greater predictability, efficiency, and flow. But what happens when an organization has multiple teams, complex products, or an entire portfolio of initiatives? Can the principles of visualization, limiting work in progress WIP, and managing flow effectively scale beyond a single team's whiteboard or digital board? The answer is a resounding yes. Kanban's scaling approach is fundamentally different from many other agile frameworks. It's often described as organic scaling. Rather than prescribing a rigid structure of teams, of teams, and ceremonies, Kanban extends its principles naturally. It focuses on connecting services, teams, and optimizing the flow of value across the entire organization, from strategic initiatives down to individual tasks. Kanban's organic scaling nature. The core idea is to apply the same principles at higher levels of abstraction, connecting multiple Kanban boards, upstream-downstream flow. If one team's done column feeds another team's ready column, you've naturally connected two Kanban systems. This allows for clear visualization of dependencies and backlogs between teams. Explicit policies for handoffs. Define explicit policies for how work moves between boards. What constitutes ready for the next team? What information must accompany the handover? This reduces friction and miscommunication. Example: the feature delivered column of a product discovery team's board might feed into the backlog column of a software development team's board. Portfolio Kanban. One of the most common and powerful ways to scale Kanban is through portfolio Kanban. This involves applying Kanban principles to manage strategic initiatives, epics, or projects rather than individual features or user stories. Purpose: to gain visibility into the organization's strategic work, limit the number of large initiatives in progress, and ensure that the right work is being pursued at the right time. Board structure. A portfolio Kanban board typically has columns representing the stages of a strategic initiative's life cycle: ideas, opportunity funnel, potential initiatives, or epics. Analysis discovery. Research, feasibility studies, business case development. Ready for implementation, approved initiatives, broken down sufficiently for execution teams. Implementing executing. Initiatives being actively worked on by multiple teams. Deployed realizing value. Initiatives released to market and delivering value. Done. Initiative fully completed. WIP limits on strategic initiatives. This is critical. Limiting WIP at the portfolio level prevents the organization from overcommitting, reduces context switching across leaders and teams, and encourages focused execution on a few key objectives. Cadences. Portfolio Kanban leverages higher-level Kanban cadences like the strategy review and operations review to align strategic goals with execution and identify cross-organizational impediments. Benefit: prevents the too many projects, not enough people syndrome, where resources are thinly spread across numerous initiatives, leading to none of them being completed quickly. The Kanban method, across divisions and departments. Kanban's adaptability means it can be applied not just within software development, but also in other knowledge work domains within an organization. Marketing. Visualize campaigns, content creation, and lead generation. HR. Manage hiring processes, employee onboarding or training initiatives. Legal. Track case progression or contract reviews. IT operations. Manage infrastructure requests, incident management, or release pipelines. When multiple departments adopt Kanban, the potential for end-to-end flow optimization becomes immense. An initiative might start on a portfolio Kanban board, flow into a marketing Kanban board, then to a software development Kanban board, and finally to an IT operations Kanban board. This creates a visible value stream network, allowing leaders to see where value is created and where it gets stuck across the entire organization. Organizational design implications and shared services. Scaling Kanban often highlights existing organizational design challenges. Dependencies. When you visualize the flow across multiple teams or departments, dependencies become glaringly obvious. Kanban encourages proactively managing these dependencies, often by integrating teams closer if they share crucial handoffs. Shared services. Teams responsible for shared services, e.g., database administration, security, centralized testing environments, can also adopt Kanban. Their boards will clearly show their inbound queues and throughput, allowing other teams to understand their capacity and plan accordingly. This replaces ad hoc requests with transparent pull systems. Functional silos. Kanban's focus on end-to-end flow naturally breaks down functional silos. When a team sees that its work is blocked by a dependency on another department, it encourages cross-functional collaboration to solve the problem rather than just waiting. Focus on flow units. At scale, it becomes critical to define the flow unit for different levels. A feature at the team level might be a capability at the program level, and an initiative at the portfolio level. Clearly defining these nested work items is key to ensuring consistent understanding and tracking. Key considerations for scaling Kanban: consistency in principles, flexibility in practice. While core principles, like visualize, limit WIP, remain constant, the specific implementation, board design, column names, cadences can vary widely between different levels and departments. This is a strength, not a weakness. Culture of experimentation and psychological safety. Scaling Kanban involves continuous organizational learning. Leaders must foster an environment where teams feel safe to experiment with their processes, fail fast, and share their learnings. Leadership engagement. Effective scaling requires buy-in and active participation from all levels of leadership. They need to understand and support the shift to manage the work, not the workers, and focus on system optimization. Leaders play a crucial role in removing impediments at the organizational level. Data transparency. Making flow metrics visible across different levels of the organization helps align everyone towards common goals and provides objective data for improvement discussions. Training and coaching. As Kanban spreads, providing training and coaching, internally or externally, can accelerate adoption and ensure a deeper understanding of the principles. Scaling Kanban is not about standardizing every team's process or implementing a rigid framework. It's about cultivating an interconnected network of services, each optimized for flow, and collectively focused on delivering value to the customer. By applying the same fundamental principles of visualization, WIP limits, and continuous improvement across the entire organization, companies can achieve remarkable gains in agility, predictability, and responsiveness to market demands. The next time we talk about how Kanban contrasts and integrates with other agile methodologies, providing a broader context for its unique strengths. 10. Kanban in context. Comparing and combining with other methodologies. As you embark on or continue your journey with Kanban, you'll inevitably encounter other methodologies and frameworks in the agile landscape. Understanding how Kanban relates to these, where it differs, where it complements, and when to combine them, is crucial for making informed decisions about your team's approach to software development. The agile world is not a zero-sum game. Often, the most effective solutions emerge from intelligent integration. Scrum vs Kanban, understanding the differences and complementarities. Perhaps the most common comparison is between Scrum and Kanban. While both are agile methodologies focused on delivering value, they have distinct philosophies and mechanisms. Scrum's core characteristics: time-boxed and iterative, organized into fixed-length iterations called sprints, typically 1 to 4 weeks. Roles: prescriptive roles, product owner, Scrum master, development team. Events: specific ceremonies, sprint planning, daily Scrum, sprint review, sprint retrospective. Commitment: the team commits to delivering a set amount of work by the end of each sprint. Focus: optimizing for short-term predictability and incremental delivery within a time box. Kanban's core characteristics: flow-based and continuous, no fixed iterations or time boxes. Work flows continuously. Roles: no prescribed roles, it starts with existing roles. Events cadences: flexible cadences, daily Kanban, replenishment, service delivery review, etc. that emerge as needed. Commitment: focus shifts to predictable lead times and continuous delivery. Focus: optimizing for continuous flow, reducing lead time, and managing work in progress to improve efficiency and predictability. When to choose which or how they complement. Choose Scrum when your team benefits from a strong rhythm and cadence. You need predictable delivery within short, fixed intervals. You're comfortable with prescribed roles and ceremonies. New teams often find Scrum's structure helpful for initial adoption of agile principles. Choose Kanban when your work arrives unpredictably, e.g., support teams, operations, feature teams with frequent urgent requests. You need to reduce lead time and improve flow for highly variable work. Your team struggles with commitments each iteration or estimates in story points. You want to improve an existing process incrementally without a disruptive overhaul. Start with what you do now. You are dealing with ongoing maintenance, support, or continuous delivery pipelines. Complementarity: Scrumban, This hybrid approach combines elements of both. Many teams that start with Scrum find themselves naturally adopting Kanban practices to improve their flow within sprints. Scrum with Kanban practices. A Scrum team uses a Kanban board to visualize their sprint backlog, apply WIP limits within the sprint, and track flow metrics like cycle time. This enhances transparency, reduces context switching, and helps the team meet their sprint commitments more consistently. Kanban with some Scrum events. A Kanban team might adopt a regular sprint review-like session to demo work to stakeholders or a retrospective-like meeting for continuous improvement. The beauty of Scrumban is that it leverages Scrum's iterative delivery and cross-functional teams, while benefiting from Kanban's focus on flow and continuous improvement. It's often an organic evolution for teams seeking to continuously optimize their delivery. Integrating Kanban with DevOps practices. DevOps, development operations, is a set of practices that combines software development, dev, and IT operations. Ops, to shorten the system's development lifecycle and provide continuous delivery with high software quality. Kanban principles align perfectly with DevOps goals. Continuous flow. DevOps strives for continuous integration, continuous delivery, CI/CD, and continuous deployment, moving work as smoothly as possible from idea to production. This directly mirrors Kanban's goal of managing flow and reducing lead time. Visualization of the entire pipeline. A Kanban board extended to include operations stages, e.g., ready for release, in production, monitoring, makes the entire value stream visible. This helps identify bottlenecks in the deployment pipeline. Limiting WIP in release management. Just as you limit WIP in development, you can limit the number of features or changes in a release train or a deployment pipeline to ensure stability and faster recovery if issues arise. Feedback loops. DevOps emphasizes continuous feedback from monitoring and operations back to development. Kanban's feedback cadences, like the service delivery review, facilitate discussing this operational feedback with the team and stakeholders. How they interact. A team using Kanban can integrate their board directly with their CI/CD pipeline automation. For instance, a card moving to deploying might automatically trigger a build or deployment script. Monitoring data from production can feed into discussions during the Kanban meeting or service delivery review, informing improvement cycles. The broader Lean Agile ecosystem. Kanban fits seamlessly into the broader Lean Agile ecosystem, which emphasizes delivering value, continuous improvement, and respecting people. Lean software development. Kanban is a direct descendant of lean manufacturing. Its focus on eliminating waste, muta, building in quality, jidoka, and optimizing the whole value stream aligns perfectly with lean software development's principles: eliminate waste, amplify learning, decide as late as possible, deliver as fast as possible, empower the team, build integrity in, see the whole. Extreme programming, XP. XP emphasizes engineering practices like TDD, test-driven development, pair programming, continuous integration, and refactoring. A team practicing these XP techniques can greatly benefit from Kanban's flow management to visualize and smooth out their highly disciplined development process. Kanban helps ensure that good engineering practices translate into faster, more predictable delivery. Scaled Agile frameworks, SAFe, LeSS, etc. While these frameworks address scaling Agile in large organizations, some utilize Kanban principles at various levels. SAFe, for example, often employs Kanban at the portfolio, program, and team levels to visualize flow and limit WIP within its structured releases and programs. LeSS, large-scale Scrum, can also benefit from Kanban's flow metrics and visualization to manage dependencies across multiple Scrum teams. Ultimately, Kanban provides a powerful lens through which to view and improve any work process. Its non-prescriptive, evolutionary nature makes it a flexible tool that can enhance virtually any software development approach. It does not demand a complete overhaul of your existing practices. Instead, it observes, analyzes, and then gently guides your team towards greater efficiency and predictability. By understanding its unique strengths and how it interacts with other methodologies, You can strategically apply Kanban to create a development environment that is not only robust, but also continuously adaptable to your evolving needs. With this comprehensive understanding, we are now ready to explore real-world successful Kanban implementations in the next chapter. 11. Real-world wins, case studies and success stories. Theory is important, but practical evidence is what truly brings a concept to life. Throughout this book, we've explored the origins, principles, and practices of Kanban and how it measures what matters. Now, let's turn to real-world examples to illustrate how diverse organizations and teams have successfully implemented Kanban, overcome challenges, and achieved significant improvements in their software development processes. These stories highlight different aspects of Kanban's power: improved predictability, reduced lead times, enhanced team morale, and better alignment with business goals. While specific company names may be illustrative rather than actual, the scenarios and outcomes are drawn from numerous documented cases of Kanban adoption across industries and team sizes. Case Study 1, the frustrated fintech startup, from chaos to predictability. The challenge, Fintech Innovators Inc., was a rapidly growing startup. Their software development teams were brilliant but overwhelmed. They prided themselves on being agile, but key features were often late, bug reports piled up, and product owners felt like they were constantly guessing when things would be ready. The core problem was too much work in progress (WIP) and a lack of clear visibility into bottlenecks. Everyone was busy, but little seemed to finish. Kanban implementation. The team leaders, inspired by Kanban principles, decided to try an evolutionary approach. Visualization. They started by mapping their current workflow onto a large physical Kanban board. Columns included ready for dev, developing, code review, testing, ready for release, and done. Initial WIP limits. They observed that developers were working on 3 to 5 features simultaneously. They set an immediate WIP limit of 2 features per developer for developing, and a WIP limit of 2 for code review. Daily Kanban meeting. They adopted a daily right-to-left walk of the board, focusing on moving items to done and unblocking any impediments. The wins: reduced lead time. Within 3 months, the average lead time for a new feature dropped by 40%. The team started finishing work rather than just starting it. Improved predictability. With lower WIP and a clearer understanding of their cycle time, the product owners could predict delivery dates with much higher confidence, improving stakeholder trust. Bottleneck visibility. The code review column frequently hit its WIP limit. This visibility prompted them to implement explicit policies for faster code review, smaller pull requests, dedicated review times, and cross-train team members on review skills. Increased morale. Developers reported feeling less stressed by multitasking and more satisfied by consistently completing work. Key takeaway: even a small, focused team can achieve significant gains by simply limiting WIP and visualizing their flow. Case Study 2, the established enterprise division, balancing agility and process. The challenge, a large insurance company's legacy systems division, Secure Connect, was known for its robust but slow development cycles. They had adopted a modified waterfall approach that led to long feedback loops and difficulty responding to market changes. Teams resisted radical change, fearing disruption to their critical existing processes. Kanban implementation. The division leadership introduced Kanban as a way to improve flow within their existing process without requiring an immediate, wholesale shift. Respecting current process. They identified the key handoff points in their waterfall-like process, e.g., requirements complete, design approved, development milestones, QA sign-off, and mapped them as columns on a large-scale Kanban board that spanned across multiple departments. Focus on flow metrics. They began meticulously tracking lead time and throughput for major initiatives. Using cumulative flow diagrams, they quickly identified that the longest queues were consistently in waiting for design approval and awaiting integration testing. Service delivery reviews. They began holding regular service delivery reviews with all involved department heads, using the CFD and other metrics to point out where work was frequently getting stuck. The wins: systemic bottleneck identification. The data unequivocally showed where the biggest delays were. This shifted the conversation from blaming individual departments to collectively addressing systemic issues. Improved integration testing efficiency. By limiting WIP into the awaiting integration testing stage, teams were forced to ensure higher quality upstream, and the integration team could focus on fewer items, reducing their cycle time. Cross-departmental collaboration. The shared visualization and data fostered a new level of collaboration. Department heads began to proactively solve problems that affected the entire value stream, rather than just optimizing their own silos. Accelerated market responsiveness. While still a large enterprise, the division was able to cut the time to market for major features by 25% within a year, enabling them to launch new products competitive with more nimble fintechs. Key takeaway: Kanban's evolutionary nature and focus on measuring flow make it highly effective for large, established organizations seeking incremental but significant improvements without causing massive disruption. Case Study 3, the support and maintenance team, taming the unpredictable. The challenge: CodeGuard support. A team responsible for maintaining a critical software application and responding to customer incidents was constantly overwhelmed. Urgent issues kept derailing planned work, leading to frustration, burnout, and a never-ending backlog of technical debt. Their work was inherently unpredictable. Kanban implementation. Kanban was a natural fit for their highly variable workflow. Visualizing all work, their board had columns like incident queue, bug investigation, working urgent, working planned, testing, and done. Classes of service. They explicitly defined classes of service to handle different types of work. Expedite. Critical incidents, e.g., system down, no WIP limit, pull immediately. Fixed date. Regulatory compliance, critical security patches, clear deadline must meet. Standard. Regular bugs, small feature requests, first in, first out with WIP limit. Intangible. Technical debt, refactoring lowest priority, little immediate cost of delay, but important for long-term health. WIP limits by class of service. This allowed them to protect capacity for urgent work while ensuring planned work also progressed. For example, they might have a WIP limit of 1 for expedite, meaning only one critical bug can be worked on at a time, and 5 for standard. Replenishment meeting adjusted for flow. Their replenishment meeting became a daily triage of incoming work, quickly categorizing it by class of service and pulling items when capacity allowed. The wins: clarity of priorities. The visual board and explicit classes of service made it clear to everyone, team, stakeholders, management, what was being prioritized and why. Reduced context switching for planned work. By protecting capacity for standard and intangible work, the team could make better progress on planned tasks without constant disruption from emergencies. Improved responsiveness for urgent work. Urgent issues were handled swiftly because the expedite lane guaranteed immediate attention. Reduced burnout. Team members felt more in control of their workload and could better manage the unpredictable nature of their work, leading to improved job satisfaction. Proactive technical debt management. The intangible class of service ensured that technical debt didn't get ignored indefinitely, preventing future catastrophic incidents. Key takeaway: Kanban's flexibility, explicit policies, and classes of service are exceptionally well suited for teams dealing with highly variable, unpredictable, and service-oriented work. These case studies illustrate that Kanban is not a one-size-fits-all solution, but a highly adaptable framework that allows teams to continuously improve their unique processes. Whether you're a small startup drowning in WIP, a large enterprise seeking smoother cross-departmental flow, or a support team striving for better predictability, Kanban offers a powerful set of tools to visualize your work, limit your commitments, and create a sustainable flow of value. In the final chapter, we'll look to the future of Kanban and how you can continue your journey of mastery. 12. The enduring flow, future trends, and your continuing Kanban journey. Congratulations! You've journeyed through the history, principles, practices, and real-world applications of Kanban for software development. You now possess a solid foundation to understand, implement, and continuously improve your team's flow. But the world of software development is ever-evolving, and so too is Kanban. This final chapter will explore emerging trends, reiterate key takeaways, and provide guidance for your ongoing Kanban journey. Emerging trends in Kanban. Kanban, by its nature, is adaptive and absorbs new insights from various fields. Here are a few areas where it continues to evolve. AI, ML for optimization and analytics. Predictive analytics. While current tools provide excellent historical data, cycle time scatterplots, CFDS, the future will likely see more sophisticated AI, ML algorithms predicting bottlenecks before they occur, suggesting optimal WIP limits, or even forecasting delivery with higher precision based on complex historical patterns. Anomaly detection. AI could help identify unusual deviations in flow, signaling potential problems or inefficiencies that human eyes might miss. Automated policy suggestions. Based on observed flow, AI might suggest explicit policy changes or adjustments to classes of service to optimize for specific outcomes. Advanced analytics and data-driven decision-making. Beyond the core metrics, there's a growing emphasis on leveraging more sophisticated statistical analysis to understand system behavior. This includes Bayesian statistics for more robust forecasts and deeper dives into the distributions of cycle times to inform risk assessment. The goal is to move from, "we think this helps," to "the data shows this definitively improves our flow by X%. Human-centric flow and psychological safety. While Kanban emphasizes managing work, there's a growing recognition that optimal flow is inextricably linked to the well-being and psychological safety of the workers. Future trends will likely see more explicit integration of team health metrics, practices to reduce burnout, and methods to foster an environment where continuous improvement can thrive without fear. This connects strongly to Kanban's principle of manage the work, not the workers, but extends it to proactive well-being. Beyond software, Kanban in all knowledge work. As organizations become more complex, the need for flow management extends far beyond it. We're already seeing Kanban adopted in marketing, HR, legal, sales, and even personal productivity. The future will likely see a stronger confluence of lean, DevOps, and Kanban principles applied universally across enterprise functions, creating truly end-to-end value streams where knowledge work flows as seamlessly as physical production. The concept of continuous flow beyond software development. The principles you've learned are not confined to code commits and feature releases. The idea of visualizing work, limiting WIP, and optimizing flow is applicable to any process that involves a series of steps to deliver value. Think about a hospital emergency room. Patients are work items, doctors and nurses are resources, and processes involve diagnosis, treatment, and discharge. WIP limits, number of patients seen simultaneously, and managing flow are critical for patient outcomes. Consider a marketing campaign. From ideation to launch, it involves multiple handoffs and stages. A Kanban approach can ensure smooth progression. Understanding continuous flow provides a powerful mental model for analyzing and improving virtually any system, regardless of its domain. Recapping key takeaways from this book. As you conclude this book, let's revisit the core tenets that define the art of flow in software teams. Kanban is evolutionary, not revolutionary. Start with what you do now, respect existing processes, and make small, continuous improvements. Visualize what you do. The Kanban board is your single source of truth, illuminating your workflow, current work items, and potential bottlenecks. Limit work in progress, WIP. This is the secret sauce. By focusing on finishing, not just starting, you reduce context switching, improve quality, and accelerate delivery. Less truly is more. Manage flow, don't control people. Focus on optimizing the system, identifying and removing impediments, and allowing work to pull through the process. Make policies explicit. Clear, agreed-upon rules reduce ambiguity and ensure consistent behavior across the team. Use data to drive decisions. Metrics like lead time, cycle time, throughput, and CFDs provide objective insights into your system's health and help you make informed improvements. Embrace feedback loops. Regular cadences allow for inspection, adaptation, and continuous learning at all levels, from daily team synchronization to strategic alignment. Kanban scales organically. Its principles can be applied from a single team to an entire portfolio, connecting value streams and breaking down silos. It complements other agile methods. Kanban is rarely an either-or choice. It often enhances existing methodologies like Scrum and aligns perfectly with DevOps. Your continuing Kanban journey. Kanban is a journey, not a destination. Perfection is an asymptote. You can always get closer but never truly reach it. The true mastery of Kanban lies in the continuous pursuit of improvement. Here are a few steps for your ongoing journey. Reflect and experiment regularly. Make continuous improvement a habit. Ask, what's our biggest impediment to flow right now? What small experiment can we run to address it? Deepen your knowledge. This book is a foundation. Explore the works of David J. Anderson, Daniel Vacanti, Klaus Leopold, and other thought leaders in the Kanban community. Attend conferences, webinars, and workshops. Join the community. Engage with other practitioners. Share your challenges and successes in online forums, meetups, or professional networks. Learning from others' experiences is invaluable. Become a flow advocate. As you experience the benefits, share your knowledge and enthusiasm. Help others in your organization understand the power of flow. Be patient and persistent. Change takes time. There will be setbacks and moments of doubt. Trust the principles, rely on your data, and keep moving forward, one small improvement at a time. Remember, Kanban is about fostering a culture of continuous learning and adaptation. It empowers teams to understand their work, improve their delivery, and ultimately create more value for their customers with less stress and greater predictability. Go forth, visualize your flow, manage your work, and enjoy the art of continuous, evolutionary change. The flow awaits.